If you've ever felt like you don't belong somewhere, or if you fear your colleagues are going to discover you're a fraud and undeserving of what you've attained, you've likely had a bad case of imposter syndrome. Never fear, according to one study, an estimated 70% of us suffer from imposter syndrome at some point in our life. Bibigi Haile is the founder of Speakeasy.work, a career management and personal branding consultancy company. She works with women in middle and senior management roles, helping them make bold moves in their lives and careers as they discover the possibilities that come with finding and owning their unique voice. Welcome to the show, Bibigi.
Thank you, Candace. I'm happy
It,
to be here.
it's so great to have you here. I feel like imposter syndrome is something a lot of women struggle with. I mean, when I went and looked it up and found 70% of us at some point deal with this, that's huge.
It's huge. It's huge. And it's interesting because the last workshop I did on imposter syndrome, when I threw out that number, the 70%, I remember looking at the chat and everybody's, oh my God, I'm not alone. And so I was telling these women, you know what? Do the math. When you go into a room and you're feeling imposter syndrome, do the math. If there are 10 people in there, it means 7 of them, regardless of their organizational level, are feeling the same thing as you. So that helps bring us back, right? We're not going to lose it, but it'll bring us back a little bit.
So is imposter syndrome a confidence issue then? Is it a lack of self-confidence, or does it stem from something else?
It's not so much a lack of confidence, but it is interpreted by the people who are living it as a lack of confidence. A lot of the time what happens with imposter syndrome is that it's actually women and men, because this is one of those, it doesn't actually matter what gender you are. Everybody feels it in the same way, but it's the way that it comes out and the way that it shows up that's different. And it's an attribution issue. So women who are extremely accomplished, they know what they're doing, they're competent, they've succeeded. Usually they have like pretty successful careers, but they attribute their success to luck, to the team, to hard work, but they don't attribute it to their own competence and skills. And so after that, the interpretation comes with, I don't feel confident. I'm not self-confident. If I was self-confident, I would be able to own this.
Right. I think that is as you're speaking, I'm nodding and smiling here because, I think a lot of women in particular struggle with this. They have the skill set, but they're afraid to be bold about that skill set and to say, yeah, I'm here because I deserve to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we have to be bold about our specific skill set. I think that's where we get stuck. We're trying to take on so much, be so good about so many things. But when you focus on self-awareness and figure out what's your zone, where is it that you are extremely good? What comes with it is knowing where you're not extremely good. And so you sort of lose this feeling that you have to show up as a superstar in every space. I am horrible at planning and at follow-ups. And I used to do project management. And so I had these project plans, and literally it felt like they were a foreign language. And when I realized the first time I did a strength finder, and I realized that all of my strength, Candace, all of them were in the strategic space, the ideas, the visioning, I cried. I was like, so I'm not bad at what I do. I'm bad at this thing. And now I just delegate. Every time there is something that needs to be managed, followed up, I tell people I'm not good at this, have someone else do it. This is what I'm good at.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second then, because you said, doing something to find your strengths. So what do you recommend women do? Where do you start when you want to focus on really finding out what your core competencies are?
Yeah, a couple of things. There are some things that are just very structured. I use Strength Finder, the Gallup Strength Finder. It's very useful. You can think of it like an MBTI, but I think it's more focused because it focuses on your strength at work, and it's divided into areas. So strategic versus execution versus relationships. Super useful. The other thing that I have people do is think about the moments that they are in flow. Because we always think that doing something well means it has to be hard. It's the opposite. Doing something well is those things that are so easy for you that you're not even able to call them something that you're good at. You're like, yeah, I know I do that thing. Isn't it easy for everybody? No, no. Some people, it's super easy to do a follow-up. They can follow an Excel spreadsheet that tells them what to do. And for me, it gives me anxiety. So when you find that thing that you're in flow, when you think about how you feel in your body, when you're like, for me, it's facilitating a meeting. I feel like, this is my space. I could do this all day. That gives you an inkling of your strength. Third tip I would give them, think about 3 words to describe yourself. If you could only have 3 words, what would they be? And you can't use one of those that we use, accomplished professional. Can't do that. Find your 3 words.
And I think you have to be in the right headspace as well when you're asking those 3 words. You don't want to be in this negative space and, really using those words that are not maybe very encouraging
100%.
or positive, right? It's that self-talk is important.
I'm so glad you brought that up. So all of my clients, I ask them to be careful of the words they use when they talk to themselves. We say a lot that women are harsh with ourselves, etc. But one of the things that we do is use words that are very difficult. So for instance, we'll say, I'm so stupid. And there's this sentence that says your brain is always listening, right? If you're constantly telling yourself, I'm so stupid, I'm such an idiot. When you go into a room and get triggered by people who make you feel like an idiot for whatever reason, your brain is already used to hearing and feeling that way. So being careful with the words that we use to talk to ourselves is critical. Self-compassion is critical. It sounds like woo, but it is the only way to manage the process of, succeeding at our life and being joyful in our life.
Yeah, I really wish people would let go of that uh, perception that these sort of things are woo woo. It's
Mhm.
really not. I want to talk a little bit about. You say that being friends with your fear is a good thing. So how do you manage that? How do you become friendly with your fear?
Observation, literally observation. And it's part of the self-awareness, understanding what your triggers are. So when you and I were communicating and in our email, I said I prefer to be addressed as BB. The reason I prefer to be addressed as BB is because when somebody calls me Bibigi, it triggers me back to when I was a child and I had done something wrong. And my parents would say, Bibigi, and then, get upset. And so literally I get triggered like that in meetings. And so it's about knowing our triggers, knowing what creates that space of fear and discomfort so that we can observe it. And that gives us a moment to slow down, right? We are in a world and in a workplace where things are going so fast. We get triggered, we react, and then we go back and we think, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I just said that. Versus observing and seeing what's going on and being, the imposter syndrome is here. Have a seat. I'm doing something. I'll be right back. Or with the fear, same thing. Have a seat. You can observe if you want. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, but please feel free. So it's adding humor and compassion and observation to how we show up in the world and lessening the expectations.
So how are you finding all of this now? Obviously, we are 8 months into this pandemic, and the need for the self-compassion is greater than ever. How are you helping women right now?
Community, community. I'm doing a virtual coffee tour where I have conversations with women all over the world. And one of the things that keeps coming up as what is necessary for women to thrive is community. So right now I have a LinkedIn group. I'm training women on LinkedIn, which is a fantastic way to learn how to show up. And I realized that it's not about LinkedIn. It's about all these women together having these amazing conversations, holding each other up, and more importantly, saying, oh my God, me too. They're not alone. They're all living this. And then the kids will pop in, the toddlers. My toddler is not here today, but he pops into the videos and it's just, this is who we are. This is how we're living now. And let's do it as a community and hold each other up.
Well, you are singing my song. That is what she said is here for, is to create this community with women, especially, I've been hearing this since the first week that we went into lockdown, these stories. So I think creating this community is vitally important. If people want to connect with you, Bibi, where can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I'm a bit of a LinkedIn junkie. So Bibigi Haile at LinkedIn. My website is being revamped, but they can go on it and get sign up for our newsletter. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, Bibi. We will talk again soon.
I hope so, Candice. Thank you so much.